What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I just want to give you guys some upcoming boxing news, or updated boxing news, I guess you could say. It looks like the fight with Paulie Malignaggi putting his title up against the unretired Shane Mosley. Um, the negotiations between that particular fight they're not really seeing eye to eye. I don't really know if I think it's more on Malignaggi's side with the how much he's expecting to get paid from it. Either way, due to finances, Richard Schaefer says it's not um, looking like it's a done deal. It's not looking like they can agree. So Malignaggi released a statement saying scrap the Shane Mosley fight, and he wants to fight Marcos Maidana at 47 for the title. I think this is a good thing. I made a previous video where I talked about the Shane Mosley and Malignaggi matchup, and again, just out of respect for the sport, I would watch it, but it doesn't really prove much to me. If Malignaggi outslicks Shane Mosley, people would just be like, "Oh, Mosley was done. He's been done. He hasn't won in 4 years," and he doesn't really get much props. And then, I mean, what if Shane Mosley, I mean, knocks out Malignaggi, for instance? What does that do? What does that do for Shane Mosley? They'll be like, okay, Malignaggi has no power, so it was inevitable that Mosley would catch him. So either way, it doesn't really do much for the fighter, and I honestly think Mosley is at a caliber where he's gave us great fights, but he's clearly not in his prime, and he's so far removed from his prime and doesn't have the fighting style to compete at a high level and like beat elite fighters. Yeah, so I really see only certain select fighters. If Malignaggi were to lose to Shane Mosley and he continued to fight instead of retiring on a positive note, like he should have done against Margarito or something. Um, I don't. There's only certain fighters I can see Mosley beating, and none of them are going to get him to the top of the sport. So really, I feel like if you can't compete at that high of a level to get to, you know what I mean, like it should be everyone's goal to hold a title, to be the reigning champion, to be at the top of pound for pound list. I mean, why else would you be into boxing or a boxer if that wasn't your goal? Like, who just wants to be complacent? Like, oh, I just want to be a C class fighter, or I want to be this. You know what I mean? The goal should be to reach the top. So for someone like Shane Mosley, I don't feel he has enough in the tank to get him to that level. Can he beat Mayweather in a rematch? No. Will he beat Canelo in a rematch? Probably not. No. You know what I mean? So it's like, who's he gonna beat? He can only beat a handful of fighters. Um, I just don't see him climbing back. But that's my personal take on it. I think he's done. I think he's doing it for the money. I mean, Canelo got over $1 million for their fight, and Shane Mosley got 700K. We all know Mosley had went through a divorce, and I think he had to make a lot of payments to his ex-wife or some shit. So, looks like he's fighting for the money. And it's just a shame to have these great fighters, Roy Jones Jr., Shane Mosley, possibly Pacquiao, depending on how he responds from his brutal knockout. But all these fighters give us legendary great fights and stuff, and like let's say Pacquiao just keeps getting knocked out, and then they use him as a stepping stone and he keeps fighting. It just like you're tainting your legacy the longer you stay in it. I mean, even people like Ricky Hatton, you retire then unretire, come back, you get in great shape, and then you still lose to Sinchenko. So I don't know. I feel like some boxers, a lot of boxers, they don't know when to quit. They don't have the styles that are going to keep them around competing with these young cats, and some of them don't even necessarily keep their body in condition after they go away from the sport. So um, that's one thing another reason why I like Mayweather, because even when Mayweather took almost 2 years off before facing Marquez, um, they say he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and even though he came in overweight, 4 pounds, you could tell just by his athleticism and his lack of visible ring rust that he's just a complete athlete, that he takes it serious, and he must have been. I mean, I have a hard time picturing Floyd in that 18th month layoff. just sitting back, betting on sports like he does and drinking beer. Like it looked like he still did his cardio and whatnot because Marquez is a class act, and for him to beat Marquez in such a dominating fashion, I mean, you could say 4 pounds, but realistically, it was the skill level and his fighting style, I believe. Because I think if they fought even today, if they rematched, I think Mayweather beats Marquez. So anyway, I rambled long enough. Malignaggi wants to fight Marcos Maidana instead of Mosley now that they can't agree upon the finances, and I think that's a better fight. Give Marcos Maidana another title shot. He's coming off an impressive win against Soto Carras. He had a Fight of the Year candidate, I believe, on the Canelo undercard. He won via TKO stoppage. Um, he might have had a fight after that in Argentina. I don't really remember. I think they were trying to do like a Sergio Martinez and Marcos Maidana Argentina fight in Argentina, but I don't know if he was on it. I don't really remember. But I would rather see Malignaggi and Marcos Maidana as opposed to Mosley and Malignaggi because I think it proves more. Um, just my thoughts on the fight between Marcos Maidana and Malignaggi. It's really going to be good because it's similar to the Shane Mosley, except Shane Mosley seems kind of expired in terms of where his career is heading. Hadn't won in 4 years. But you got Marcos Maidana, who's improving under the tutelage of Robert Garcia, and he's known for power. And then you got a guy who's very slick, crafty, more of a technical fighter with no power, and that's Paulie Malignaggi. So, will he get caught, or will he be able to just outclass Maidana completely? Because if you notice in Maidana's last fight, or the Jesus Soto Carras fight, Maidana was doing a lot of different things. Obviously, that he'd been working on with Robert. He was like fighting off the ropes, showed more defense. He used a jab that I never recall him using that frequently. So he seems like he's overall getting better. I mean, one fight can't really tell you if they're there to stay, but it looked like he was improving. So that's always a good thing. So it'd be an interesting fight. Can Malignaggi just outclass him? Because I really doubt he could stop Marcos Maidana. I just don't see it happening. He stopped Sanchenko off of cuts. I don't think he has the punching power. Maidana looks pretty tough. I mean, he's been in there with Victor Ortiz, who's known to hit hard. Amir Khan, who's throws fast and overwhelming punches, and he got up from a vicious body shot in the first round from Amir Khan. So I really don't see Malignaggi stopping Marcos Maidana. If there were a stoppage, I really would say it would come from Marcos Maidana. But I mean, he could just get completely outclassed, like the Devin Alexander versus Marcos Maidana fight. Who knows? But it could be good, like more of a heavy-handed brawler type versus the slick boxer. What wins? But on a side note, Marcos Maidana, when he did fight Devin Alexander, he wasn't working with Robert Garcia. So who knows what his training was like, or what his game plan was like, or what his focus is like. But in the Soto Carras fight, it looked like Robert Garcia was really working with him because he didn't seem such a one-dimensional fighter, like someone just relying on heavy hands. It seemed like he had more of an overall boxer mentality. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Marcos Maidana versus Paulie Malignaggi. Would that be a good fight, or would you rather see Shane Mosley versus Malignaggi? And hate, comment, subscribe. You guys know the routine. Until next videos, Ego signing off.